I am very much looking forward to the breakout groups coming up here in a little bit, but I also wanted to help set the stage a little bit for these conversations. As just mentioned, my name is Colin Adkins, and I'm an educator with Cornell Cooperative Extension, based in Dutchess County, but with the pleasure and privilege of working on this fabulous regional program for the Mid-Hudson region called the Community Energy Engagement Program. That is a program of NYSERDA, the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority, that is also statewide. So in all 10 regions of all 10 economic development regions, there are organizations contracted to deliver outreach and education for all of NYSERDA's programs and help folks make informed energy choices, no matter where you are in New York State. So keep that in mind. I have worked with a fantastic team of fellow community energy advisors, and now we have some fantastic volunteer energy navigators that you might encounter and hear from tonight even. So there is a growing effort of people and organizations involved in helping us with this energy transformation that we're all currently engaged in right now. And what I like to say, you know, when I start a lot of these presentations is perhaps you're familiar with the old adage that the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago, but the second best time is right now. That's very true for energy efficiency and clean energy as well. There's a lot of things we could have done 5, 10, 15 years ago in our own homes, in our communities, in our societies that would put us in a better position now, but the second best time is right now. And now is a great time to take a fresh look at energy and what programs are out there to help folks. So with that, you know, I want to sort of also set the stage in another way, which is to say that energy efficiency really hurts our budgets. And the reason being is that our homes work like a system, that when we heat air and send it throughout our house, hot air does what hot air wants to do. It wants to rise and it wants to find a way out. And for every cubic foot of air that leaves, a cubic foot of air has got to come back in. And that air is cold. It's potentially bringing with it outdoor air pollutants. And we're paying to then heat it all back up. And so there's all these little places throughout our homes that begin to add up. And you can see a few of them here on the screen. Without belaboring that too much, the reason why this is so important is because up here in the cold latitudes, especially New York State, and further upstate you go, we spend the majority of our energy dollars just heating and cooling the air in our homes. So that runaway cycle of air leaks becoming bigger, becoming more numerous, if left unchecked, really adds up over time until, boom, it hits us on our energy bills. This is in fact from one of my energy bills from many years ago when I lived in a very inefficient apartment in Saugerties. And I just remember that feeling, just being gobsmacked when I opened that January bill and you see that big spike in use, and I didn't even know it was happening. So what are we to do about that? But it's not just our wallet. It is also our health. There is now a very good body of research out there linking energy inefficiency to overall health indicators. When inadequate ventilation can exacerbate our respiratory conditions, even cardiovascular disease, certain cancers, all of those points of egress for hot air also are points of ingress for pests carrying potential diseases or that further deteriorate our home efficiency. And something I think we're all acutely aware of right now is our stress. The stress of worrying about our energy bills, our housing conditions have mental health impacts that are cumulative with all the other things happening right now. So it's not just about dollars and cents and kilowatts, it's also about our health. But I'm here to tell you today that there are solutions. In fact, everyone on this call is probably paying into that solution. And that is, if you take a close look at your energy bill, I know sometimes it seems like you need an advanced degree just to understand what the heck's going on in these. You might see, I'll give you a hack here. You might see something called SBC. You might see something that says like RPS or CEF. So SBC stands for the Systems Benefit Charge. And these are fractions of a dollar assessed on the amount of energy, electricity that we consume, that is all aggregated and redistributed into things like energy-related research and development, the energy efficiency programs that I'm going to talk about, and subsidies to help low and moderate income household afford these changes. So, I'm gonna share with you in just a second here a couple of programs that we work on very extensively, that we help folks know if they're eligible for, understand the process, help apply. But these next couple programs are really just the tip of the iceberg that are out there. And we can help folks with anything under the sun, from energy efficiency to understanding if solar is the right move for you, or geothermal. But what I want to preface this with is that we really do believe in an efficiency first approach, because that makes any other course of action you want to do that much better of an investment. And if we think about it in terms of our climate goals, we need to first reduce how much we're consuming, so that we don't need to build up as much renewable infrastructure, and we can get where we need to be that much faster. So, I want to talk first about what is sort of most broadly applicable to everybody, which is that here in New York State, you can get a no-cost energy assessment through the Residential Energy Audit Program. And that is available to both owners and renters. It is at no cost to you. And then you get that roadmap, you get that tool of what needs to be done to help lower your energy use and start saving money. If you like what's in that report, there is also financing available to help you do those things. And you don't have to do all those things at once. That energy audit is like a roadmap to help you understand what needs to be done. These are highly trained Building Performance Institute trained contractors that participate in the New York State Energy Research and Development Authority's programming, that are the ones coming in to do these assessments. So you're getting a quality assessment. Then, what if I can't afford what's in that report? What if I need a little help getting there? Well, that's where programs like Assisted Home Performance with Energy Star and Empower New York come in. There's a lot of information on this slide right here. I don't want anyone to strain themselves trying to look at the information here. I'm going to point out a few of the highlights, and you can call on the energy advisors, you can call on the energy navigators to get screened to know if you are eligible for these programs. But what I want to make mention of here especially, is that these programs are for both homeowners and renters. Renters are paying energy costs too. So keep that in mind. The other thing to keep in mind is the numbers you see on the screen for income guidelines. These are examples, and these numbers actually change depending on the household size and where you're located in the state. But I wanted to give you all a ballpark kind of idea for what like a family of 4 in Ulster County could be making to be eligible for these programs. And I will also mention that the state's response to COVID-19 pandemic, they really stepped up to make these programs more accessible. The Assisted Home Performance with Energy Star actually has increased income eligibility beyond what you're even seeing here on the screen. And that has been extended now through the end of June of this year. The last thing to note here is that, so if you're kind of considered moderate income by the state standards, there is some financial assistance to get the energy efficiency work done, up to $5,000 presently, or 50% of the project, whichever comes first. If you are considered low income by the state's standards, or a very easy way to determine eligibility is if you receive SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program, or TANF, Temporary Assistance for Needy Families, or if you receive HEAP, which we'll talk about a little later too, which is the Home Energy Assistance Program. If you receive any of those types of financial benefits, you're automatically income eligible to receive 100% of some energy efficiency work currently set at up to $10,000 at no cost to you. This is a huge win-win for tenants and landlords, and we'll talk probably more about that in more detail during the breakout sessions. But it doesn't stop there either. Recently, coupled with Empower New York, is a program called Solar for All. Solar for All is a fantastic program that provides additional utility bill assistance using solar credits. And we're very fortunate here in the Hudson Valley to have several of these projects in our area. So it doesn't matter if you're an Orange and Rockland utilities customer, or a Central Hudson, or a NYSEG customer, you can receive no cost credits. So these are direct financial credits coming off the top of your bill that is essentially enabled through solar. And you get that just by signing up for and being approved for Empower New York as part of the benefit now. And if all this seems a little daunting to you, it's okay. There are a lot of programs out there. There's a lot of considerations as we're going through these programs, frankly. But help is available all along the way. That is what the community energy advisors and the energy navigators are here for. So you might, first hear about these programs. A lot of what we do is outreach. You might hear about this from an energy navigator in your community. We are all here to help kind of get you engaged in the process, engage with a contractor, get an assessment, understand your options, and help you apply for any assistance or financing, all the way through construction and then beyond. We're here to help you make the most of those upgrades. And what I like to end with here is a reminder: we're not just talking about kilowatt hours. We're not just talking about dollars. We're talking about homes and families and livelihoods. All of these things, these projects, I've seen a number of times just the transformative effect that living in an inefficient home versus an efficient home can have. And there are lots of great examples of this out there. Perhaps some of you have participated in these programs, or someone you know has participated in these programs. One I like to tell is of a gentleman from Dutchess County who came to me in August of 2018, who honestly and firmly believed that he was going to freeze to death in his own home come wintertime. This was a plaguing thought to him, and he just was reaching for whatever help he could get to help put his mind at ease. And as soon as the work got completed, before winter came, he said that worry melted away. And he said to me that he was able to finally kind of start living his life again. So it is not an understatement to say, that this work is about helping people. So to anyone out there, who might be in crisis or wondering what help is available, I want you to know that there is help, and it's just a phone call or an email away. I'm going to put my contact information as well as my colleague's contact information on the screen here for anyone who'd like to jot it down. You're also going to be getting a survey, as I understand, after this talk, where you can indicate if you'd like an energy navigator to reach out and give you a call. So with that, Jess, I'm going to turn it back over to you, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that might come in.
Thanks so much, Colin. Wonderful, wonderful. Before we go to the questions that I see in the chat, I just wanted to let people know, can people hear me okay? If you just want to give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Great, great. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of an anecdote about my experience. I've done those programs twice. Once was as a moderate income homeowner and once was as a low income homeowner. One time I got $5,000 towards a energy efficient boiler, and it was a really perfect timing because my boiler was broken. So I had $5,000 of state money towards the boiler, and then I did a low interest financing sort of thing through the state for the rest of it. And then another thing that I did was the Empower program, and that's when I was low income, and I got, I'd say maybe $8,000 or $10,000 of free insulation for my attic, and it made such a difference. It was done in the spring when it was warmer out, but you could still just like feel it instantly. And I haven't done the numbers yet. I think last year was my first winter with it. But I saved a lot of money and a lot of energy, and I have you know, an oil burner, and while it's efficient, if my house didn't have insulation in the attic or needed more insulation, then it's, you know, efficiency only goes so far when it comes to a boiler if it's going right out of the roof. So I want to thank Cornell personally for helping administer these programs. So let's go to the questions. Let's see. I rent an apartment with in a HUD section development. So this person has HUD. What options do I have for increasing energy efficiency?
I'm guessing that person might also be a renter, but if either the building itself has already been sort of designated as affordable housing, sometimes there's a pathway to get the entire building, like if it's a big apartment complex. Sometimes there's extra incentives to get the whole building done through NYSERDA's multifamily programs that the landlord is really interested in, because not only do you get some of the Empower assistance, but you can get some extra on top of that. However, if it's perhaps just like a single family or a 1 to 4 unit building, anything like that, Empower is a great way to go. And I'd be happy to talk with anybody, whoever entered that question, to kind of check you for all these different programs.
Great, thank you, Colin. Here's another one. What do you think about using air purifiers, which of course use energy, but are supposed to help prevent respiratory problems?
You know, that is true, but you know, also consider that there is probably a root cause of the indoor air quality that might not be adequately addressed until some better air sealing or insulation work, you know, first takes place. You always kind of want to sniff out the root cause of that, and not just treat the symptoms.
Thank you, thank you. Here's another one. How does one sign up to get the New York State energy audit, and when is the best time to get one? Great
question. There actually isn't even an application anymore. There's a list of participating contractors, and you just look up who's in your area. You can give a few a call, see who you might like to work with, and ask them, I'd like the free residential energy audit program. I'd say that there's no bad time to get an energy assessment, but you know, depending on whether your energy use is highest in the summer or highest in the winter, you know, the more time you can give yourself, the better, so you're not kind of squeezed for time. But like I said at the beginning of the talk, the best time to get an energy audit was maybe a couple years ago. The second best time is right now.
Great, great. I have another question here. It says, I would like to put heat in a barn on my property so I can move into it as an apartment. Do you think I can get some funding for putting heat into the building for the first time?
So that space would probably be considered an unconditioned space right now. The residential programs apply to already conditioned spaces. They already have meters. They already have, it's already occupied. There are some programs that come around for new construction occasionally, or gut rehabilitation. And I could share some information from NYSERDA's website about where those programs are and when they come around.
Cool, thanks.
Bubble wrap, believe it or not. This is the heavy duty bubble wrap that something came wrapped in. And if you take a spray bottle, just a plain old plastic spray bottle, fill it with water and like 1 drop of, say, Dawn detergent, you spray the window with this on, and it will cause the bubble wrap to adhere to it. Now, it's not the prettiest thing, but I'm amazed at how well it works. I had an e-glass window that failed and was frosting up terribly. And for the winter, I just put this on. And I was really surprised at how much that made a difference for conduction. You know, it went from feeling just cold and frost forming to, you know, it not feeling cold. And what for that particular window that year, when I had it up for the entire winter, I actually then went 1 step further and took a spray adhesive and put on a single layer of fabric over the top of it. So it really just looked like it was a window shade. So that would be the cheapest alternative. The next one is not so much for a window, but other situations where you're trying to insulate. And this is a product called Reflectix. And I did put the link in the chat. This can be purchased at many places like Lowe's, for example, or any hardware store. And this can be used for everything from, say, insulating the back of a garage door to around a hot water heater. It's really just fancy bubble wrap, because on each side of the bubble wrap there is a metallic reflective shield. So that's another DIY product, and there's a lot of information online, obviously, about how to use it. It comes in all different widths and lengths. The last product that I wanted to talk about a little bit more is called Warm Windows. Warm Windows, sorry, singular. In fact, if you're trying to remember what this product is called, think of the fact that you are at the Warm Up to Winter seminar, and this product is called Warm Window. And I'm showing you the decorator side, but here's the back side. And this is a way of making a panel that will fit over a window. And I'm going to show you a bolt of what the fabric looks like when you first purchase it. This is the product, and it's actually multi-layers. If I show you here, you have it's like a liner layer, and then there is a insulation layer, and there is a metallic film layer, kind of like a space blanket. And then there's another layer that's actually a sandwich of 3 layers, and it's insulation, that kind of metal reflective film, and then more insulation. So, you know, this is already pre-sewn as these layers. And ultimately, you don't have to be a professional seamstress to do these. It's like making a pillowcase. It is about measure 3 times, cut once, but you're going to measure your window and cut a decorator fabric of any kind, and this liner, sew 2 seams on each side and hem both sides. And there is actually directions for how to do it without a sewing machine too. You can use a seam sealing product that is sold by this company. I put links in the chat for how to do that. And then ultimately, you can either, the most simple solution is to, I have on this one, there's a Velcro strip at the top, and it literally can be Velcroed up. And then say in the daytime, I want to see out that window and get the full light, I can just un-Velcro it. There's also a way, on another one of my windows, I have Velcro down the side, and I can actually like make it like a Roman shade. So you kind of fold up different sections of it. And the third way is on the back side of this one. If I can bring it close enough to the camera so you can see, there are loops sewn. And you can buy this strip that includes loops, and you can run a nylon cord up through the loops and literally turn it into a shade that you can just pull and cleat off. So know that this is really a great option. I've used it in a number of different homes. It's DIY, you can do it yourself, you can hire somebody else to do it with the product. But again, the cheapest way is with the bubble wrap or Reflectix on other things. And I'm gonna let Cal jump in with some things from the kit.
That's really cool to know. I actually wasn't familiar with that fabric product. And it's lovely that we've got all these windows in the house, but they definitely do not retain heat. So it'd be nice to have something to cover them with overnight. I'm interested in finding out more about that. As far as a couple other things you can do if your landlord's not really keen on getting involved in winterizing the place you're living is you can cover the windows with one of these little kits. It's basically shrink wrap. You open it up and it's got a piece of very thin plastic and some double-side tape. And you put the double-side tape around the edge of your window. You clean, wipe it down with alcohol wipe first usually. Or just soap, something to keep it so that the tape sticks properly. You run the double-sided tape around the edge of the window. You press the plastic over it, helps to have a friend. Otherwise, you're liable to get stuck to yourself. And then once it's stuck on all four sides, you take a hairdryer and you just point the hairdryer at it to shrink the plastic up. And that gives it a taut seal, and that will give you that air barrier to give your single glazed window that double glazed insulation. So that's one good way to do it, and that's good if you want to make sure you're still getting the daylight at all times. But the one drawback is it's single use. You do end up tossing the plastic at the end of the season, but on the other hand, you're not using that energy for heating your house. So I know I've lived in some very drafty old apartments where it made a huge difference in how much heat I needed to use to just seal up the windows with one of these little shrink plastic kits. So those are easy to get, and Energy Navigators have them in their kits. So if you talk to one of us, we can probably hook you up with a couple of these. Couple other good options are if you got drafts coming in under your door, you can get what's called a door sweep. Which is basically, again, it's plastic, most of this stuff is, but it just sort of sticks to the bottom of your door and it covers up that little gap between the bottom of the door and the floor. So you're not getting that draft just like swooping in underneath. I actually had a door in the same apartment where it was cold all the time, where it was worth it to do it over the top of the door too, because it was very poorly sized for the size of the frame. So again, this is just called a door sweep. Easy to find at hardware stores. I know Herzog's has them, which is the closest one to me. And you can trim that to size as needed. And then a final useful tool is just weather strip caulking. So instead of having to get like a caulking gun and put something permanent in, weather stripping, it's sort of like using clay. It comes in these long ropes, and you can press that into the edges of, say, a window frame or similar spots where you've just got like just enough of a gap that you're getting that breeze through and not a good seal. So the box itself suggests like baseboards, concrete walls around windows, around screens, doors. If you've got a window air conditioner that stays in, like that should ideally come out. But if you can't take it out, then you want to caulk around the edges as best you can to make sure that you're not getting that draft in all winter. So those are a couple of things that you can just like pick up, and they're not going to run you too much money, and they'll help save a lot of heat in the winter. So again, that's the caulking, weather stripping, door sweep, and the window insulation shrink film kit. For this, you do need a hairdryer, which is why I did not demonstrate it tonight, because we discovered no one in my house uses a hairdryer. So that's that from me.
I have an electric home. My heating is in the ceiling, which they used to do a long time ago in New Paltz. So I noticed I have a lot of drafts. I have had my windows replaced probably 15 years ago, maybe 18 years ago, but there's still drafts there. The floor is very cold. I have to, at night, I have to put like a little heater on, you know, an electric heater, just so that my feet and legs stay warm in the house. So I'm wondering, could a heat pump work on a house like this?
Matt, you want to take a shot at that?
Sure. So all electric homes benefit the most switching to air source heat pumps. With the rebates, the installation is very affordable. And as far as your cold floor, the heat pump wall units in heat mode actually blow to the floor. So I think doing an air source heat pump in your house would be a good solution.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
Other questions? Can't see everybody.
I have a question. Oh, Iris.
Oh, go ahead.
Hi, Agnes.
Go ahead, Emily.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I first of all, thank you. This is very, very useful for me. For to have someone come to my home and walk around with me and give me ideas of what I can do to make it better. Who do I call first? I'm confused about that.
Liz, you want to try?
Hi, so I was actually just posting this to Kamiko as well, who is asking this very same question. So the Cornell Cooperative Extension has a group of volunteers that we've been referring to as the Energy Navigators.
Okay.
And we're here as an independent group that can help you sort through, you know, what's going on with your own home and get you started, point you in the right direction, what you're interested in taking care of, any energy efficiency upgrades, and help get you there. So if you fill out the form, the link that's been posted in the chat a couple of times, and I'd be happy to post it again, then one of the Energy Navigators will follow up with you. So you just indicate that on your interest form, and we will reach out to you.
Okay, Jay.
Okay, so it all depends on what's going on in your home and what's in your attic. If you have mechanicals and ductwork in your attic, then yes, you really want to insulate the attic rafters versus the attic floor. If you don't have mechanicals or ductwork in there, what we would do is basically remove all the existing fiberglass, do a complete air seal, any penetrations through the ceiling, and you know, through the top plates and the exterior plates, and then we could air seal it, whether we use the spray foam or caulk or gun, you know, like a foam gun. And then we can blow cellulose as well. So it all depends on what the situation of that home is.
So you do use cellulose as well?
We do, yes. Yep.
And can you use it in existing walls?
You can. We can drill holes through the outside or the inside of the home, depending on the siding and, you know, that kind of thing. But we also have an injectable foam as well. So if you like the spray foam, we can actually do an injection with spray foam, or we can actually install dense packed cellulose in the walls.
Do you guys also handle the audits?
We have one guy on our team that does audits, and he audits with NYSERDA, and we do work with other companies as well that belong to the NYSERDA program.
Thank you.
Yes. So yes, we do work with NYSERDA program.
Great, that's good to know. Jeff, you want to unmute yourself?
I guess this is for Jay. Can you just talk generally about the expense of your foaming, just in a general sense, what it might cost in a 1,000 square foot house? Because I really, I like the idea, but I don't know how expensive those products are. Just if generally you can talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, typically if we're just going in to do someone's attic, and again, depending on the size of everything, if we're removing the fiberglass, leaving the fiberglass, I mean, typically an existing home, you're probably looking between 3,000 to 5,000, typical. Then if you get into the NYSERDA program, there is some rebates on that as well.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
Yes, this would be for Michaela. She said an average home geo installation costs $35,000, and then continues to say with financing, utilities, incentives, blah, blah, blah. Not blah, 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 but you know what I mean. Anyway, you're saying that could it be less than $35,000 with all those incentives? Or is that pretty much the cost, including the incentives?
I'm not 100% sure on that. I think that it would maybe be a little bit less, but I think for like an average home, it's usually around $30,000.
Wow. Okay.
But it might be less.
I just replaced, like just a couple of years ago, I just replaced a ground source heat pump, not the full piping that was already there. And that was approximately $20,000 before any rebates. So I would suspect the credit, the tax credits and whatnot would lower that price a little bit.
Yeah, I think that they do. Yeah. I can check on that.
And then another question.
Sure.
When somebody comes to my home from the Cornell Cooperative, one of the energy navigators, is that called doing an energy audit?
Liz?
Is that what we're talking about? Yes?
No, it's actually different. The energy navigators would kind of do, and at this time, because of COVID, we are not doing home visits. In a normal circumstance, we would, but in this case, we'd be either talking with you or sending you, talking over email, over the phone. We can do a virtual visit. We can do a walkthrough checklist with you, which can address some of the DIY things that actually someone else was asking about as well, which would include, LED light bulbs, which save a ton of energy for the average household. If you have drafty windows, using some of those window kits where you use a hair dryer and it's kind of like cellophane and it can seal your windows up. There's also caulk tape that you can use to seal up drafty spots, door sweeps, things like that can really make a very big difference for your comfort and also for your energy and heating usage. As far as the energy audit, that is run through a list of NYSERDA contractors who have been approved to do that. And it's generally a free service. There's a couple of bells and whistles like a blower door test that is an add-on cost. And we definitely think it gives you a lot of great information. And we're kind of there as your guide and on the side so that you can bounce things off of us and we can help you achieve your goals, whether they're to reduce your carbon footprint, to make your home more comfortable, or to save money, which really all three of those can be done at the same time.